Joining us here is New Orleans Saints quarterback on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line, Taysom Hill. How you doing, Taysom?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Rich.
Absolutely. I knew you reached out. You're like, look, I want to come on your show, and I want to talk about how I dominated Tom Brady. So the floor is yours, Taysom. Go for it. Go for it. Yeah?
That sounds like me.
Yeah, no, it's
man,
out of character, I guess. Right?
Yeah, that was a bucket list type of game. You know, you think about as a kid growing up playing Sunday Night Football against, Tom Brady. Look, shoot, I've been watching Tom since I was a little kid. So, man, that was a big game, a fun game, and obviously such a great team effort that we were able to come away with a win.
So, did you get a chance to tell Tom that, Taysom, or that just wasn't the right moment, right?
No, obviously, Tom coming to the division last year, I'd seen him multiple times, and he knows I'm a fan and grew up watching him. As I'm sure everyone else in the league can say the same thing. But I've been able to express that to him, and so this wasn't the first time that I had seen him. Obviously, the first time I'd gone head to head against him in this role, but yeah, man, it was a lot of fun.
And obviously, must win or necessary win. I mean, that was huge. What was it like in the locker room after that 9-0 win, Taysom?
Yeah, I mean, look, we overcame a lot that week, losing Sean,
Yep.
and a lot of people had to step up, and it was a total team effort, and that's kind of what we had talked about that whole week. That's what we talked about in the locker room on Sunday night, and I think everyone felt that, and the celebration was conducive to that. So as you would expect, I think. We all celebrated, we all had fun, but we're also aware of our situation that, at this point, every game is a playoff game for us, and we've got to continue to put our best foot forward and make sure that we, handle our business so we can, just create an opportunity to make the postseason.
And that's where I kind of want to linger a little bit in our conversation here, Taysom Hill, is that, obviously starting last year, it was in place of an injured Drew Brees. And now starting here, you are the man, and with a lot of hopes on your shoulders and also, your finger, which we'll get to in a second. How do you handle that? Obviously, this is what you live for. This is why you play the game, but now you're in it. So what do you think about that, Taysom Hill?
Well, it's a good question. I think it's important that, especially for me, like my role here in New Orleans has been so unique through the years, and I think maybe historically I've kind of looked into it, where you kind of almost psych yourself out a little bit. I can tell you last year, stepping in as a backup, knowing that Drew was getting ready to come back and make this playoff run, you kind of just have this mindset as a backup that, like, man, I don't want to mess this up. And as you alluded to, it's a totally different mindset right now than it was last year for me. And so, as we go through game plans, all that stuff, like I've become much more involved in expressing my opinion and what I like and dislike and, all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, you have to create opportunities for the team to win. And I think you need to understand the game plan and, what it's going to take to win each game, because each week it's different. So it's a different beast, but as I alluded to earlier, for me, it's been all about taking advantage of whatever the opportunity is for me, and this just happens to be the one right now.
And I feel for you because your head coach, unfortunately, is a wallflower who doesn't know anything about confidence. Oh, wait a minute, he's the exact opposite. My bad. What is your conversation with Sean Payton like now in this role?
Yeah, you're talking with him out with COVID and stuff?
No, just in general. Forget about the COVID, because clearly, he's going to come back from it, and you'll get him back. But the fact that you were handed the reins by him pre-COVID, the whole conversation about, like, you're the guy. Like, what does he say? What are those conversations between the two of you like there on that front?
Honestly, they were brief this time. Sean and I have had many conversations throughout the years, and honestly, the one that I had with him a few weeks ago, telling me that I was going to go, was probably one of the conversations that was most brief.
Really?
And he just told me that, hey, you're the guy. Like, you're going this week, and let's go, and it's time. And that was really it. And then we started working.
That's it. There was, I guess that's for the movies the other way, right? We sit down. But I mean, I guess as they say in the NFL, it is what it is. And what you've been doing the last couple of weeks has been terrific, especially since when I saw your finger and it looked a lot similar to Russell Wilson's that required surgery, I thought, there goes that opportunity. Taysom Hill, walk me through what happened with your finger and why you're able to continue to play with it right now.
So it is the same injury from my understanding as Russ. It's just in the joint above where his was. So mine is right at the tip of your finger on my middle finger, where if it would have been a joint lower as Russ's was, then I would have been in big trouble. So I basically ruptured the flexor tendon in the very tip of my middle finger, and so I can't extend my finger straight. And so we splinted it. We chose not to do surgery, and we're just going to keep it splinted for 8 weeks, and that should allow enough time for the tendon to heal. In the meantime, as I mentioned, it's splinted, so it obviously creates a little limitations of me, gripping the ball, throwing the ball, that type of deal. But our trainers have been great here. They've created so many options for me and different things for me to try that creates the best scenario for me to do what I need to do, and we've been able to make it work.
That's amazing. I'm like, that's amazing, Taysom. There's no other way to describe it other than amazing that you're able to have that. So what do you wear? Are you splinted as you're throwing a football, or you're wearing, because I thought I saw some sort of covering in a way. Did I see that over the last week? What do you have there? Well, thank you. I'm sure you could talk to just about everybody in the NFL. We're all dealing with something at this point in the season, right? Playing through injury. It is a little disappointing, to have to deal with an injury on your throwing hand as a quarterback. But as I mentioned, it's splinted. So we have this material that you can get really warm, and that kind of molds to your hand or your whatever it is. In this situation, it's the top of my finger, and then we cut it down, and then we basically just tape that to the top of my finger so my finger stays straight. And then we have this other tape that has some grippy material on the front of it, almost like the same material that you see on all the receiver gloves and tight end gloves and that. And then we put that over the tape to try to just give me a little bit of tack on that finger, because you're not getting any tack with tape. And like I said, our trainers have been so great to work with, and they've created so many options for me, and this is the one that I felt like is the best. MacGyver or MacGruber? What's their name? Their trainer. I mean, my gosh, that's incredible that you have this option for you. And when you're running, Taysom Hill, now that you're again the starter here, do you think about sliding more? Because I'm seeing you invite contact like it's like you're still on special teams a little bit, Taysom. No? No, I certainly. This is something that I battled with my entire career, where as a starting quarterback, you have to be available for your team, or you don't do them any good. But I do think that there's so much to be said about situational football. So it's third and short, it's you're on the goal line, or whatever the scenario situation is. I'm aware of all those scenarios, and there are scenarios where I'm going to stick my head down and be a running back and do that, and then there are other scenarios where you get on the edge and you're open field, and so I am trying to limit contact, but there's some scenarios and situations where there's just no way around it. Yeah, I would say so, and I saw all of that on on Sunday night. So how much conversation you guys having about the playoffs here? Because that's 2 straight dubs. You just blanked Tom Brady. Your defense just blanked Tom Brady for the first time since the middle aughts, right? And the Bucs were ready to raise a division banner on Sunday night, and you prevented it. There has to be a nice brimming of confidence going on.
Yeah,
right
I mean, look, I think we've had the same confidence through the season. It's just we've been dealing with injuries, and obviously every team has excuses throughout the league. But I think to your point, yes, we have a lot of confidence in what we have going right now. In terms of conversations about the playoffs, I would say that we're very aware of the scenarios right now and the situation and where we're at. And so that's kind of what I was alluding to, where every game for us is a playoff game. And we know that we have to have our best. And that really has been the expectation around here. So I would say we're not psyching ourselves out and, saying end of the world type of deal, but we're certainly aware of it. And, practices have been really good, and, we're all in here grinding.
How much do you stay in contact with Brees? Does he reach out to you, give you a couple cents?
Yeah,
what do you got?
I talk to him weekly. Yeah.
We
talk. We talk very regularly, game plan, how things went, and yeah.
So what do you give me a fly on the wall moment here? What do you guys talk about? Like, I know you just gave me some brushstrokes, but what do you got? You got anything? Like,
that's a loaded question.
Okay.
I can tell you, obviously my experience now has been more unique than anything I've experienced, and so we're obviously able to relate to each other on a different level now. And I would say there's been moments throughout the season too where he has sent me a breakdown of every pass play that I've had in a game, and given me feedback that way. And I mean, again, the list goes on, and we can talk about the football stuff, but really, Drew he really has become one of my best friends, and there's so much more that goes into it.
So he sends you like a video, a link or something, and you open it up, and it's all your pass plays, and him what? Like voicing over, this is what I saw, this is what you should do?
No, it's just a text. So I
Okay.
mean, Drew hasn't been gone that long. He knows the concepts. He knows what we're doing, and
Right.
So it's just a quick, almost like a grade report. Like, did you think about this? Good throw here, good play here. And there's obviously new stuff as well, and so it's also funny for me because he'll reach out and he's like a little kid at a candy store when we do new stuff, and he's so excited about it. Like, oh, what were you guys doing there?
Yeah.
And, he's still very much into it.
That's cool. And again, what you're doing with your finger being the way it is. The only thing I could say other than amazing, I'm just glad you're not a New Yorker, because then you couldn't tell people the way you really feel about them. So there's that. That's the one silver lining then, I guess, in that regard.
There you go. Well, I feel the same way. Thanks for having me, Rich.
Thanks, Taysom Hill. You're a good man. Taysom Hill, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show.